that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
Roger, stand 1 round elimination, stand by.
We were surrounded. We landed in the middle of them. We had our hands full. Just right in the middle of the battle there, we had lots of people got wounded that day. Many got killed and everything.
When we flew in the Chinooks, we hardly ever landed. They would come in, and it was like this helicopter comes in, and it's got the nose up and the tail down, and you're just squirting out the back end.
I heard this, and you never wanted to hear this, and I heard it the first night I was in country, Gooks Online, and that simply means that you have enemy soldiers that are online and they're coming.
We was out there for 5 days of the 7 I had left, and we never found his body. He got killed that first night.
We do not want an expanding struggle with consequences that no one can foresee.
Vietnam, a blazing fire in the slow burn of the Cold War. It was there that America fought its longest war of the 20th century and faced the dilemmas that came with its superpower status.
But we will not surrender, and we will not retreat.
The young men that fought there are now well into their 60s, mostly retired, many of them grandpas. Their war in Vietnam is often portrayed as a loaded gun of cliches, colored through the lens of Hollywood. Tainted by politics and unachieved objectives, Vietnam echoes across 5 decades. In bookstores, America's best-selling wars have their own sections, yet Vietnam, the war that has most impacted the country's psyche, does not. However, the public is finally taking notice of Vietnam veterans and honoring their service. And so, I've decided to tell my community's Vietnam story through the words of the people who lived through it.
Graduated on a Friday night. Monday morning I came in and went to work. I was right out there in the shop working, and we knew it was coming. My mom called and talked to me there at lunch hour and said, "You got your notice."
When Vietnam actually got really going and the draft and everything, not everybody got drafted. I mean, I enlisted, my buddy enlisted, so it wasn't everybody just running off and all that.
I am not sure exactly when I wanted to join the Marine Corps. I know it became very strong my senior year.
I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I went a year and then decided not to go back and ended up enlisting in the Army, U.S. Army.
I think it was right after I was notified by the draft, I enlisted.
They've got movement out there, and they figure it's going to break into contact. TT time. Appreciate it if you can shoot it now. Roger.
I'd go out at night, and when the sun come up, you couldn't use the dogs, so you'd come back into the base and then wait till dark, and some of us used to say when it got dark you went hunting.
A 122 rocket had a direct hit on my bunker, and you could feel it shudder. And we waited and waited to die, and it was a dud.
And all of a sudden you hear all this gunfire, and immediately you just get as low as you can.
I had one round that landed maybe 10 feet from me while I was in my hole. I crouched down as low as I could get.
Of course, nobody wanted to walk point, and it got to be where I felt more comfortable walking point than having other guys walking point.
From a prone position, I put all the suppressive fire I had on, because then we could see from muzzle flashes, where the bunkers were, and I lit them up.
We took them gifts at Christmas time with soap and candy, and there were 100 kids, 150 kids, something like that, and 6 nuns and a priest. And the BC found out about it, and they came in and slaughtered them all.
And he went down in the gully, and I don't know if it was a booby trap or what, blew up and killed him. And all those guys run like flies. Then I had to go down there and drag his body out. But if I'd have went down, I'd have probably been killed, and he wouldn't have been.
I stepped on a landmine, and it was just a Coke can, little Coke can, you know, and because they got the C out of my leg.
5 of us went in together, and 4 of us came back. One didn't.
From 1960 to 1972, 45 of Decatur's sons fell in Vietnam.
Look at all those names engraved upon that wall. Never hesitated when they heard their country call. They went to war. It was pure hell. It was there. Mike Kelly,
if they didn't want the school named after him, then they picked another name. So I don't know if Mike was the first name or the last name. But my mother wanted, she said, okay, name the school after him, but name each room after another one. And they said they're not going to have that many rooms because too many got killed.
He lettered for all 4 years in football. You know, he just made up his mind he was going to enlist because he didn't want the draft to bother him every time he turned around to get another letter, you know. Well, I knew what he was getting into because I'd been there before. But he was old enough to make up his own mind, so. And that's what he wanted to do, and he's going to finish when he got out of service again, going to finish school.
Things we read and such, yeah, he knew it was a mess when they got there, and they had to, he was the only one really left to fix what they could at the time. So they got the hill and got those big machine guns off of them for a little while anyway.
Finally one day he come to his mother and said, I have a present for you, Mother. Said, I'm enlisting in the Army.
He'd already did it.
Yeah, so that was his passion.
He always wanted to go in.
With Vietnam going on, and he felt that he needed to serve his country in that way. He's the kind of kid that he's going to give everything he had, no matter what. In a way, these boys can forget what they went through over there.
Well, our claim to fame is we came back.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did my job, I came home. Wouldn't trade them for anything and wouldn't repeat them for anything.
You live every day now for what you got. Be thankful for what you got and what you came through.
Some killed by bus, some killed by landmine. Some were truck drivers, some were engineers, but most were drunks, legs and sailors,